Hello everyone, I'm Wendell Jones and welcome to this edition of the program, The Platform. And on this program we examine the national issues of the Bahamas. And today on our program we are talking about Alive. Alive is a household name in the Bahamas and it is celebrating its first anniversary, believe it or not, on the 11th of November. A year has gone by since Alive came to town, and they have grown by leaps and bounds in our country. There are tens of thousands of Bahamians now who are subscribers to Alive. And today on our program, we have the pleasure of speaking with the Chief Alive Officer, Mr. Damien Blackburn. He's been on a radio program with me before, but this is the first time on television. Good to see you.
Good to see you, and thank you very much, as ever, Wendell, for having us here.
Yes. Godfrey Enes, nice to see you, Mr. Enes.
Mr.
And I met Mr. Blackburn for the first time when you launched in Grand Bahama, when you commissioned your tower in Grand Bahama. Yeah. And that was just over a year ago. So how has it been going?
It's been going great. I mean, I think that when we met that famous time, it started raining, I remember, outside that Baptist church in Grand Bahama.
First Baptist church, yes.
We, about a month after I met you that time, we got our network launched in Grand Bahama and New Providence on time. Unfortunately, Hurricane Matthew arrived. You know, we all look back to those dark days. And then we revealed the brand in November, on November the 11th last year. Mm-hmm. So it's been a tumultuous year. We've been growing fast. We've been rolling out network as quick as we can. And big thanks to all the Alive team and all the customers who've trusted us so far with their valuable cell service.
Now, so that those people who do not know how Alive came about, let us start there because Alive is 51% owned by the government of the Bahamas. Give us the rundown.
So there was approximately two-year process that the government ran to auction the license that allows you to operate the mobile phone network here, and Cable Bahamas were the victors from that process. As a major condition of that process, however, the winner of the license had to form a joint venture with a company called Holding Co, mm-hmm. which is owned by the government 51% and 48% Cable Bahamas, mm-hmm. Or thereabouts, and basically that formed Alive, and the Alive venture was born. Mm-hmm. And so the first task that the venture had to do was raise the money, $62 million for the license, which Cable Bahamas had bid. And the shareholders gave us that money. We then had to build a network as fast as possible with various targets we had to meet along the way. And we got going, that's it really. So 100% Bahamian owned.
100% Bahamian owned, and your staff has grown exponentially.
Absolutely, we're over 250 employees now, nearly all Bahamian. And absolutely incredible how the people over the last year that we've recruited have embraced the Alive brand. Mm-hmm. I learned early on in my career working with Virgin, with Richard Branson, who incidentally were one of the bidders in the auction, but lost to the eventual winner. That the brand is nothing if the employees don't embrace it. So yes. The Alive teams really embraced what we wanted to do, which was to project a digital lifestyle brand, guide customers through this complicated world of smartphones and accessing the internet from your phone. Mm-hmm. And they really, really are becoming the service, the champions of choice here in the Bahamas for smartphones and all the mobile technologies that go with it.
Yeah. How many subscribers do you have now?
So we're up to over 80,000.
80,000?
Yeah, and we've been growing very, very fast. It's been an incredible journey. We're so delighted. So many people have trusted us, and the feedback that we get generally from customers is they just can't believe how fast the network is, the speed of the LTE networks that we've put down, the 2 LTE networks that we've put down in the islands we operate on, and also the amazing value of the plans that if you buy a weekly or a 30-day plan, mm-hmm. It's incredible value. You get all the data you need, all the minutes, and all the text you need.
Godfrey?
Tell me, Mr. Blackburn, your technical staff, what percentage of that is Bahamian?
So at the moment, one of the things we had to do to launch that network so quickly, because obviously you don't find 10 or 12 engineers, which you kind of need to do it. We had to partner with a Canadian company. It was a condition of our bid, of the Cable Bahamas bid, to have the right level of engineering expertise on the team. So we've partnered with a company called Seg1 Telecom, and they run the network up there, and they provided us some engineers for the rollout phase, which is for the first 18 months to 2 years. But we have a graduate training program. We've recruited some Bahamian engineers, some mobile engineers, even one or two from BTC, or old BTC employees. But the real effort that we've made for Bahamianizing our engineering function is we have a graduate training program in place. We aim to recruit about 13 in total, 3 business and then about 10 engineers. I think we have about 6 or 7 engineers now currently on staff, graduate engineers. They've been going through, the program will last 2 years. They've been going through classroom training and obviously hands-on experience. And the fantastic set of young people. I'm really, really proud of that, what we've done there, and they are going to be, the future. And the other great thing is most of those guys graduated from the University of the Bahamas, so they've got their engineering degrees. And, they're a vibrant, they're great guys. We recently had basketball tournament going on there with Cable Bahamas, and, at the heart of that basketball were our Bahamian engineers. So really, they're really the heart and soul of the Alive operation.
What attracted your company to the Bahamas?
Well, the company's Bahamian. I'm kind of here to serve the Bahamian people. I was hired because of my experience operating across other Caribbean countries. I spent 6 years operating mainly from Jamaica, Port-au-Prince, and Tegucigalpa in Honduras, and I used to be the regional CEO for Digicel across about 15 different islands.
So you know the region?
So I've done the region, and you and I were talking about cricket before we started. It was a privilege to run around every point of paradise observing West Indies cricket in that job. But I'd kind of finished. I'd got out of that game, and I was living in Miami for a couple of years. Yeah. And then I got a call from the Bahamas. The guys involved in setting up Alive said, would you like to come here? And of course, why would you not want to come to the Bahamas? A beautiful place, beautiful people, and a great challenge to set a company up from scratch and train and coach people to do it. So it's a Bahamian company. You see my face. I'm clearly not Bahamian, but we've done everything to as rapidly as possible assemble the right Bahamian team here.
You're getting around the Bahamas, though, because you have to cover a whole lot of the Bahamas by a certain time, eh?
Absolutely. We have to have the full network rolled out by next June, 30th of June next year. We're actually live on 5 islands, so we're on New Providence, Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, and Abaco. We did all that immediately. We launched Bimini recently, and we're very shortly going to launch Andros and Exuma. In these other islands that we're rolling out at the moment, the family islands, we have to follow a process which the government and IRCA mandated, which was to apply for permission as to where we want to put our sites. If there's a site that's nearby that can be used, a tower, we have to use that tower, and rightly so, because the people of the Bahamas don't want 2 huge towers in Staniel Key or in Farmers Key or something. So we followed that process, and about 70% of the towers we will be using BTC. The other 30% we're building ourselves. Now, we're cooperating closely with BTC, but they don't move necessarily at the speed we're moving at.
I see.
And our engineers worked very well with their engineers on allowing Alive customers to work on BTC's network. So if you've got an Alive phone, it does actually work on BTC's network, say in Inagua, or an island where we don't have. So you can get service. That went live in June. And the next challenge that we're working through with BTC is we have to coordinate, obviously, to put our equipment on their tower. They don't want our equipment to interfere with theirs, and it's a bit of a dance making sure the plans line up. But we're working well at the moment. But
they're using your tower as well.
They have the rights to. Couldn't have the opportunity to.
Okay.
They haven't done yet, but I expect in the future. It's fairly normal for network operators to share the infrastructure like that.
Right.
Mr. Blackburn, You said that you had about 80,000 customers.
Yes.
What percentage of the market does that represent?
So before we set off the market, it was about 300,000, 300 to 320,000, depending on quarter to quarter, it would move, yeah. So I'd say we've got 25% on that basis, yeah. There's some shakeout goes on where people are using 2 handsets for a while. Since number portability arrived here, so you can actually bring your old number to a live now, and it will work. That only arrived at the end of April. It was meant to come a little bit quicker than that, but it eventually came at the end of April. So since those times, we've seen a lot of customers bringing their number to us, and I would encourage everybody to do that.
Yeah. Can you have 2 numbers on one handset?
There are some handsets that allow that. Yeah, they're pretty rare handsets nowadays.
Okay.
You know, I would argue it's probably better for you to stick with one number. And if you want to bring your old number to a live, we can facilitate that process. It's a quick process. You just need to bring a government ID to any Alive outlet, and it literally happens within minutes.
So you've gotten 25% of the market you suspect now, and you are growing, I'm sure. What is the rate of growth?
I mean, I haven't sat down yet. We're doing roughly 10,000. 5 to 10,000 a month is the growth that we do. Yeah,
that is extraordinary.
So it's a bit quieter in the summer months. Obviously, we're on the same economic cycle as everybody in the Bahamas. Everybody leaves the Bahamas in the summer, and we could see from our roaming stats. So I was just checking this morning. We've had customers since we launched last November. The roaming service. Bahamians have gone to 91 countries in the world with their Alive phone.
91 countries.
So that's an incredible stat in its own right, yeah.
Yes.
That's actually ones where they've paid revenue. I think there's a few more where we've been testing as well. But 91 countries, it was incredible when I got the statistic this month.
Based on your experience in the Caribbean, Jamaica has about 3 million people.
Absolutely.
Trinidad has about 1 million something, right?
Yeah.
Guyana got about 900,000, right?
Yeah.
We only got 400,000. But how does our spending compare to the rest of them?
The spend per user is higher than other markets, yeah. So the spend per user in the Bahamas is similar to the spend per user in Turks and Caicos, in Cayman Islands, in places like Bermuda, Barbados to some degree, yeah. And it really, the spend per user that goes on cell phones really correlates with the GDP per capita, yeah. It's almost like a perfect correlation, yeah. So it's certainly more than Jamaica. I think the Bahamians would spend about 3 to 4 times on average what a Jamaican would spend on the phone, but it really is down to the availability of money, yeah. The Bahamian, what we're observing from now, launching with proper plans that are good value and 4 or 5 times more value than Bahamians were experiencing before we launched, is that the average revenue per user will settle out like the US. It's very similar to the US, to Florida, what people would spend and things like that. Yeah.
But the Bahamian market is a very lucrative market.
It's all relative.
Considering the size.
Yeah, it's all relative really, because at the end of the day, there's higher cost inputs here than other islands would face.
Yeah,
and this is reflected always in the GDP. So I've kind of spoken a lot in other Caribbean jurisdictions about this. Why is it not common pricing, and why it's mainly because the cost inputs are different. There are different labor rates. There are different. The labor rates in the Bahamas are higher than nearly every other Caribbean country. Are very the labor rates here are very similar to what a business would have in the US. Yeah. And that's a good thing. That's a sign of. What I've learned about the Bahamas in the 18 months I've been here is it's absolutely incredible what Bahamian people have achieved in 44 years. To build the economy like you've all done is a fantastic testament to everybody who's been doing that and really shoulder to shoulder from what I see to build the nation. Yeah. And one of the sides of that is the GDP. It's the average incomes are higher than a Jamaica. I lived in Haiti, and Haiti, another thing that I do is I chair a microfinance company in Haiti that gives $250 loans to women so that they can build micro businesses. And most of the customers of that business that I chair, when they start in that program, live on less than $2 a day.
Yeah.
So it's just the disparity of wealth is incredible around the region.
What is Believe in Best?
So Believe in Best is our new marketing campaign. It's a new departure for us. We wanted to showcase design. It's actually the inspiration. We all participated in the brainstorming of the campaign, but really the person who brought it to life is the Bahamian artist in our marketing team, a guy called Theo McLean. The wonderful ad that you see, Believe in Best ad, is all his photography. It's showcasing everything that is the best in the Bahamas, and we believe that Alive, is the best, obviously, and we believe that the Bahamas is the best, and so introducing a concept of Believe in Best, and also really making people think. I think that advertising campaign makes people really think. Do you believe in love? Do you believe in? There's a lot of things to. It's a thought-provoking campaign that we're going to evolve as we move forward, and it's a beautiful way of introducing our Believe in Best concept. We want everybody to believe in the best. We fundamentally believe that Bahamian people, deserve and should have and should believe in the best of everything, including their cell phone service. We're only one small part of what we believe Bahamian people believe in.
Yeah. Let me ask you, in developing the Alive in the Bahamas, how we talk about the ease of doing business in the Bahamas. How easy has it been, Godfrey-Ines? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, there's challenges to doing business anywhere. I have the privilege to have done business in about 20 countries, and that gives you a fairly broad perspective on this question, because every country I've worked in, lived in, including the United Kingdom, by the way, where I come from originally. There are challenges of doing business. The Bahamas is no different. There are certain things that move slower than others, and you require some patience in some areas. But that doesn't say that it's any easier. I don't find it any easier, or there's aspects of everywhere I've lived, in Haiti or Jamaica or Honduras or in St. Lucia or Antigua. I could say there's something wrong with every system, I focus more on the positives. If you think about what we have managed to achieve, and when we were awarded the license, we were promised that the government would make sure that its mandate of liberalising cellular telecommunications was done. What I've found is generally where we've needed to request assistance, the relevant government agencies have stepped up and made it happen, But there's no doubt it's a slightly. It can be a little bit more bureaucratic sometimes. There's a little bit, but I understand it, and that's the system we're in. So that's.
But operating in an archipelago has some peculiarities, right?
Absolutely, and that's a real learning for me. Certainly within one country, the nearest. Actually, Leon Williams, when I first sat down with him, when I first arrived, because despite what people think, we did have a quiet sit down every now and again, and he was very generous to share the benefits of his many years of experience running BTC with me sometimes. He said it's a big geography. It's 700 miles long, Damien. It's not going to be. It's not like it's And his analogy was it's like the Eastern Caribbean, but in one country. Now, luckily, I'd worked in the Eastern Caribbean, and I knew how difficult it was to, go up and down from British Virgin Islands at one end, down to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the other. So I had some experience of the difficulties, which have been useful, but it's still unique. It's moving network equipment around. We have to get barges to move heavy equipment around. You've got to use what's on the island. We always tell the engineers when they're going to the islands, pack 2 or 3 of everything, because once you're there, you're not getting it that quickly. So there's ways of dealing with things that you grow. The beauty of the archipelago, though, is, of course, having the privilege, like myself and my team have got to go around as we're launching, is to see the beauty of
Different
nature,
islands,
Bahamians, and different Bahamians in different islands is unbelievable.
What about the duplication? Because you have to do essentially the same thing on each island. Right?
Yeah, I mean, for our business, there's not too much duplication. On the network side, you would have to build the same amount of towers to cover an area, whether it was in one place or not. Yeah, it's just moving the equipment there. Obviously, there's different scales of economy. So could we service the same amount of people with one store in a more densely packed population area? But that's the beauty of it, We found some very good solutions to those challenges. Yeah, generally what I find is that to partner with local businesses, if we want to sell our product, is the way to go in the smaller family islands. We're not trying to take over and put a store on every island.
But tell me, Mr. Barber, there's this view that many of these islands, the population is shrinking. You take an island like Cat Island, you may want to put in a tower on Cat Island, really put it in the middle, or you put it in Orange Creek, and you have people down in Devil's Point, there may be 10 people in Devil's Point.
Well, we don't have much choice, actually, about where we put the towers to a large degree, because we have to cover 99% of the population. That's the mandate we've been given, so it's quite hard to choose. We just have to put coverage wherever people are living and work, actually.
Even though there may be a sparse population?
Even though we have to cover 99% in each island, yeah. So it's hard to cover 99% in each island, to be honest, unless you cover most of the communities, yeah. And whilst, people ask me this, wouldn't it be economic it'd be more economic if we just didn't bother with that place, yeah. That's not what we've been asked to do. So we're not going to do that, yeah. We've been asked to, it doesn't matter, I don't even bother looking at that equation. We've been asked to cover 99% of the Bahamas, that's what we're going to do. And it's correct and right that the regulatory authorities and the government's policy when the license was awarded does that. Digital inclusion and connection to the internet is a fundamental human right, I believe. In today's world, people shouldn't be divided digitally, and so if there's a community with 10 or 20 people in and they need connection to the internet, they're going to get it with a live. Yeah.
Digital inclusion is a fundamental right.
Fundamental human right. I mean, the whole world is moving to all information is going to be available, on in one form or another online from a digital device. Most businesses industries are now looking at how they can, if they've not already started, looking at how they can serve customers in digitally. There's going to be a huge explosion. It's already happening around financial services and what's called fintech, so financial technology, yeah, which will fundamentally change the way people bank, make payments, and every area, the way media, a lot of people are consuming their media, yourself, Mr. Jones, from Facebook live streaming, social media, and I think this format, the video format, has an even bigger role to play in a way in that new world.
Yes.
Young people all they'll video record messages to each other.
That is what a daughter of mine tells me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you were a pioneer.
Yes.
You were in the format before everybody else.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a break here on our program. We're on the platform, and Damien Blackburn, our guest on the program, he's the Chief Alive Officer. We'll come right back.